Just go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. This is good. This is good conversation.
So I was just telling Ken that we all showed up, and the race for this competition is like there's 3 at a certain rank and 3 at another rank, so they're not all competing against each other. But we all showed up, and it was like 30 degrees to the point that most of us looked at each other like, hey, no matter what our scores are, no matter how close we are, if we all just decide not to do this, we're going to get yelled at for it. But are we willing to roll the dice on where we are currently without doing this event? So I was being a little bitch about it up until the first like half lap, and then I was cozy warm.
You were warmed up by then.
You don't get warm when you run, Ken?
Bro, I went outside this morning. It said it was -2. Then it said it feels like -22. And I thought to myself, how do you know what -22 feels like? After 40, 50 degrees, you're like, it feels like about freezing out here. That's about the only reference I got. And I have to start my car and let it warm up for 10 minutes. So I don't break something.
Wait a second. You have a Trailhawk and you don't have an automatic start?
No, because I didn't. This is not about my financial choices. I could have. That
has nothing to do with your financials. That has everything to do with what Jeep you chose.
Yeah, it's a trail. It's really nice. I don't even have heated seats. That's where I made a mistake. I think I'm honestly in August, I'm gonna just get a Tesla.
I have a Laredo X, which is 4 trims lower than the Trailhawk, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heated seats and the heated steering wheel and self-start.
I got this little button that I can turn for different modes, like sport mode, snow, rock, sand, and it works. So,
but just not heated seats.
Just
he's just a pleb like the rest of us.
That's damn.
If it makes you feel better, I don't have heated seats either. So I mean, we're good.
I got all those bells and whistles. I have all those bells and whistles, and I gave them to my wife in her car, which is technically mine. And then she bought this Grand Cherokee and I drive it. So she's given me all the bells and whistles.
You're good. You're good then. You're good.
So
I studied in Toronto, and so I've experienced but they do Celsius. So I tell people I've never watched the Weather Channel so much in my life. It's like,
I understand why she is where
it feels
she
like
is.
-2, but if you go outside, it feels like -25. And your skin could freeze off in 3 minutes. And I was like, this is no place for people to live.
No,
that's where Brock Lesnar lives now. He has a place out. Yeah, I was watching Pat McAfee the other day, and Brock was saying how he moved from Minnesota because it's not secluded enough. So he found a place in Saskatchewan where he just bought 100,000 acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
And he just
I was in Toronto. Toronto was vibesy despite the weather. Saskatchewan was a bit country.
I can only imagine what his farm is like.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Tennessee on a pig farm, so I'm gonna just leave it at that.
So non-comparable is what you're saying.
Not comparable. It was cold though. In Tennessee, we got all of the seasons, but here it's like winter is forever.
That's
why do I live here?
Why do I? Why do I live here?
But what's the temperature where you're at, Kim?
Right now it's about 80. Let's see.
I'm gonna go jump off a fucking bridge. No, that's not. No, you know what?
Hold on. Let me not misquote the weather.
It's gonna be like 84.
Actually, it's 77. To be fair.
She's a real letdown.
Yep.
I was kind of expecting more.
Steve, what's your temperature?
Mine probably right now it's probably like 35.
35?
Okay.
I'll misquote that here all day because Texas has some weird weather.
It's 22 degrees outside right now.
Yippee.
It's going to be -6 tonight.
If you add those together, you might get close to the 77.
If I multiply my temperature by 3, it still wouldn't be close to yours.
That's intense.
All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast. It's not all it. I'm having a stroke.
So bad. He's having.
It's not always black and white. Welcome to the podcast, Kim. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much.
Ken has a lot of good questions, I'm not saying I don't have good questions. I'm going to sit back on this one. I might let Ken lead this one.
Yay.
I'm feeling a little tired today. But we'll see how much energy I can get out of this.
Yeah, you know, he was soldiering things up this morning, so he was, you know, defending the country.
It was no. All right, hang on. Especially today. Let's not make that reference.
I mean, you were. I mean, I'm not doing it anymore. I mean, no.
Yes.
I mean, technically, because you're in, you were defending the country.
Do not pump up my draft stock. I don't need the president calling my name on some list saying, "Hey, you're going."
They're gonna call you, Steve. It's
Stop
okay.
it.
But anyways, Kim, tell everybody
right
about
now.
yourself.
I want to be an undrafted free agent. Let's put it that way.
Undrafted. Oh my gosh.
Undrafted free agent.
But Kim, tell us about you, like accomplishments, who you are, businesses, everything. Just go for it.
All right. Government name, Kim Seeley. Born and raised in Barbados. I've studied in Toronto, Miami, Jamaica. I am an attorney by profession. And as you alluded to, I mean, it took a while for me to call it a business. I used to call it a brand, but FitAppeal is my brand. What else do you guys want to know? Avid, regular CrossFitter, you know.
Are you a mom?
No, a dog mom. Does that count? Been a dog mom many times. No kids. Currently living between Barbados and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hoping she was going to say Toronto, just
to spice it up.
A balance in weather.
Never mind. She's just between Paradise and Paradise's cousins.
Yes.
What else do you guys want to know?
I mean, what are your aspirations, I guess, for CrossFit? Is it competitive or is it just fun?
It's fun.
It's just fun.
I think Ken, you were the one that gave me one of the questions about fitness goals.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do more competitions. I had a great first outside of the Caribbean experience last year at Invictus Boston Invitational. And shout out to Bern. And it was great. The energy was great. The atmosphere was great. I have to admit, I never thought myself as a competitive person. Like I found like I shied away from competition, you know, fear of failure and everything like that. But I would like to do maybe team competitions or something like that in upcoming months.
Oh dang. Yeah, did you do the qualifier for the one this year? The Invictus Boston Invitation?
I so here's the story behind it, right?
Uh-huh.
I was traveling. I waited to the last minute, let's be honest. And then I was traveling like 2 days after I decided to do it. And the one that I did you do any of them? Yeah, you did them, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
So the snatches, double unders, rowing with the heavy lift at the end.
Yeah.
My video coincidentally stopped. So the video is like 20 minutes long, but then it just goes black about 5 seconds after I got off the rowing machine.
Jeez.
And there's nothing else. And I was like, okay, this is not happening.
You're like, that's a signal from the gods above I shouldn't be doing this.
That was my first
experience. I will be there.
That qualifier.
How were the qualifiers for that?
It wasn't bad. And as somebody who this year, like I made a move from Colorado to Texas, I had a wedding. I did a lot of stuff. And during COVID, I was a Chick-fil-A magnet. I ventured there many a times. I was probably averaging some Chick-fil-A dates, like at least minimum 4 times a week.
Jesus.
That
Are
includes
you sponsored
breakfast.
now, or
no? But you know,
how does this work?
I get along with the whole Sunday off thing that they have going on, but some of the other ideas I'm not a huge fan of. But I would say as like somebody who was quite out of shape at one point and then kind of got back into shape around the qualifier time, I was nowhere near I think 75 cutoff or something like that before they went on to the next piece.
Yeah.
But I did, I forget which video it was, but it cut out like right at the very end. And so it didn't get the finishing of the score. So when I emailed it in, they asked, but when I went back to grab it real quick, it was gone. And I was like,
oh my God.
Mm.
So
like,
it's like you have to trust my word. I finished it and I did really well.
that's what I tried to do. And I was like, look, you guys have no reason to believe me. It's not like my sports are that great.
I
But
mean, it still counts.
because it was like
I
there,
know.
I don't know what you guys use. I know there's like WOD proof, and then there's like We Time and all that stuff. We Time do not use it. That was the one that sent me back. But WOD proof, I think, never really fails.
Yeah.
WOD proof, if you do the work, when you do the workout and you like record it and everything, as long as you put it in airplane mode, it will locally save your file on the WOD proof server. As soon as you turn it off airplane mode, it will say, oh, you want to upload to YouTube, but then it'll allow you to download it to your photos too once it finishes rendering.
From my phone, it automatically downloads to your photos. Even on airplane mode, it just
Really?
Oh, mine too. But for some reason, I think I just tried to record it outside of that. I don't know. It was a real amateur moment, I have to admit. But yeah. But I did judge in Texas, and I had a great time despite how cold it was for me.
What is not? Oh my gosh, at 30 degrees right now.
Actually
welcome that.
I think it's funny. I just got a bill from the toll road that takes you out to that competition. So it was like a $2 and like 30-something cent bill. And my wife looks at it and she goes, why is my car in Austin? I was like, man, you don't understand how registrations work, do you? So she thought somebody else like stole like our license plate or something like that.
Sweet
she was just like, when did we go to Austin? I was like, you were asleep the entire time. The entire drive. My wife is well, I shouldn't say the worst because I love her to death, but she, accountability wise, the worst person to be a shotgun rider. 30 minutes into a drive, she's out.
Dude, that's Tam. She's on the couch sleeping right now.
Wake me up when we get there.
Good
Get
for
me
her.
there safely.
But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, the fittest experience was kind of like, I saw Hayes and Jalen go out there and they all had GoFundMe's and everything. And I was like, I'm going to help as much as I can because you know how I know there's not a lot of people of color that do this. You could probably name 5 to maybe 6 people.
Yeah.
So
known people.
Yeah, well-known people. So how do you feel about that? What do you think that us as, I guess, a group of minorities should do more to kind of get our people into it? Is it something you think that, CrossFit should deal with because they made that whole minority inclusion board thing that really hasn't done much? All they did was say, hey, there's a problem, and they shut up about it. So
let's be honest, that whole board is about as useless as the UN is right now.
Yeah.
Serving about the same thing. Like, hey man, I condemn what you're doing. It's bad. Please stop.
No, don't do it anymore.
My take on it is, okay, so we know this sport is predominantly white. There's no secret behind that. And I strongly believe that the inclusivity that we are looking for is not going to happen unless we are amongst the decision makers. So, and that is not going to happen automatically. I was thinking of an analogy, like if we continue to build many like picnic tables around the big table where we aren't, eventually we will encroach in their space because we need a voice. You need somebody to be able to address our concerns, not only address them, but be able to identify with them, to be able to accurately address them for the conversation to further be had, right?
Yeah.
So things like TBO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. James, and by extension, those in attendance are part of something huge. So it may not be a CrossFit sanctioned event, so to speak, but in light of the era that we're in, social media, I mean, the easiest thing to do is post and share, and it becomes clickbait. Somebody's gonna click on it. It is gonna grab somebody's attention, somebody who may not share our skin color, so to speak. may be intrigued by it, and that is what will get the ball rolling.
Yeah, because I think often, like a lot, given here's like a personal part of me. I didn't have internet until I got into college. Like I did not have access to the internet until college, and I had to learn very quickly how to use Google. I didn't know what that was, and that was
That's interesting.
2000. Yeah, it was 2008, 2009, and
Mhm.
you know, I think about what I would have been if I had that resource from an early age. How drastically different my life would have been, and I kind of put this in the same basket as that. How many, you know, Asian, you know, Latin American, African American kids don't have the ability to do this thing, to discover new things about themselves, because I think that people are a sum total of their life experiences. And without that experience and being able to go, hey, I like this or I don't like that. I tried it and I didn't like it, or I tried it and I'm succeeding at it, and it changes your whole pathway. Like you could be going totally left, and kids, you know, in trouble or whatever, can't, you know, doesn't have anything to do after school, send them to a CrossFit class for an hour, 2 hours, and then all of a sudden that availability to do other things kind of, you know, takes them on a different path. So I 100% agree with everything you just said. You speak very eloquently because you're an attorney, but but yeah, Hayes put up a post the other day, and Jalen shared it too. They said that, you know, they weren't going to give us our space, so we made our own. And I was like, man, they should put that on a sticker and send it to CrossFit HQ and go, hey, if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it. And then we're going to branch off from you and create our own thing. So, you know, there's an untapped market for,
So before, I mean, personally, I wouldn't tell them to send it to CrossFit HQ.
I would.
But it's not, I don't believe that this is CrossFit's fault. CrossFit, the company, I don't think developed this thing. And Ken and I have talked about this before with Hayes and Jalen. I think it is more than the company, but I think the company is an easy place to start, like pointing the finger and be like, hey, you guys haven't done a lot. If the people from Iceland weren't white because of the absolute like zero chill and like the fact that the sun doesn't come out for a majority of the day, a majority of the year, right? Those people could, in a sense, not be considered just regular white people or whatever, and it would be considered international and more diverse. As far as I'm concerned, the people from Europe and Australia, along with Iceland, make CrossFit more diverse. It's only realistically not seen as diverse because most of those people are still white. But it's not that the sport is not international. It's not that it can't reach different areas of the world. Like that dude from Russia, first of all, he got his, do you know who
he finally got his visa? Yeah.
He finally got his visa.
Yeah,
I don't think that, no offense, I don't think that motherfucker's coming here. I don't think the
Really?
United States,
If
I don't
they
think,
don't let,
I think the United States will 100% start vetoing and telling people.
Oh, you mean, but
no
he
travel.
But he's been denied so many times.
I would say if he's already outside of Russia, if he's already in a different country, he'll stand a chance of getting in on a flight.
Is this in light of what took place today?
I would say as of today,
okay.
Especially if like things get like more hectic and like hairy, I think CrossFit would just have a problem getting people in from that part of the world. But I think part of it, like we talked with Hayes and Jalen, I've said for at least since like 2012, I think CrossFit's gotten a very bad rap. People across at least my neck of the woods and the majority of this country, along with like Ken used to be Army, in the military, CrossFit has always had a bad rap up until recently. And actually there was an essay as a part of our competition where they asked about the new Army PT test for physical fitness. It is now essentially just 6 different CrossFit workouts. There's a few lifts, a few
with a run at the end.
Yeah,
was there a change in management of the PT test? Like what?
I think somebody got changed out, but also there was a cry from across the Army that was like, hey, we've been doing 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and 2 minutes of running for
2 mile run. 2 mile
I think
run.
and then a 2 mile run. And it was like for what, like 20 years or something like that, Ken?
Since like the
I think
60s,
that standard.
70s.
Yeah, that standard. And they were like, hey, this isn't like females aren't showing any like broadening array of physical fitness through this. You're not testing people. You're really just kind of being like, hey, if you do a few things good enough, and the minimums for like females was like what? I think like
It's like
18 or
14
19.
push-ups,
Yeah.
and
then the minimum for men was
are
like 60.
61, 62.
So it was like pretty not, I wouldn't say unfair advantages, but I would
Skewed.
say it wasn't very
Right.
across the board.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
somebody came out and they're like, oh, hey, like, well, what should we start doing? And then they looked at the Marines and their combat fitness test. And so every piece of the Army's new PT test is designed with a little bit of like, I think CrossFit and quote unquote functional fitness behind it.
Mhm.
But they also are like, hey, each one of these movements simulates something that
You doing
on a
combat.
battlefield that you would do, right? And then you started to see a quick shift to then all of a sudden gyms start investing money in functional fitness rooms. There's less free weights, there's less machines, there's more open spaces to work out. We're inclined now to start putting up what are they called? The gym in a boxes outside.
Yeah, the beaver fit boxes.
It's literally just a CrossFit gym box without rowers and without bikes. And so like I was talking to these guys and I was like, I think a cultural shift is what's needed, where people are starting to see that like there are benefits to CrossFit. It is not all Olympic weightlifting injuries and people, I don't know, just randomly
Injuries,
throwing weights around the gym and just grunting at loud noises and shit.
Yeah.
So,
But the thing you just explained was an organization realizing there was a problem and fixing it. So
okay, but let's be honest, an organization had a
but-
problem for 20 years and they knew it and
but-
didn't fix it until after somebody.
CrossFit's been around for, a decade, 12, 13, 14 years now, something like that.
Okay, but how
Sooner?
long has it been a realistic company? Because up until
I think
about
like
2011,
2000, up until 2011, it was what?
it was like it was a company, but it was not what it is now. Nor because I think like 2015 is when they had an established building that could fit everybody they had. They had a media team, a marketing team. They had merch. They had the entire works. They were making documents or not documents, documentaries of the sport and all that. And they were actually like, well, I think when they partnered with Rogue was when you really started to see them grow. But before that, they were no different than the Fittest Experience, which I'm pretty sure we can all assess.
That was bad.
That was not great.
That was not good.
So now CrossFit.
Why do y'all say that?
The way it was programmed was terrible. It was horrible. It's like squatting on top of squatting. Oh, let me do some more squatting. This test of squatting. Let me do a D-ball clean. It's squatting again. Like,
let me unnecessarily give the men's pro division a weight vest.
For no reason.
Just so that we can say that
it was hard.
It's harder than anywhere else.
Yeah.
There is no CrossFit Games. Even a judge at the CrossFit Games would have been appalled at not only the judging, but the scaling and the like programming. Cause there was some dude in Hazes, he did his muscle up and nobody got size for their vest. So when you showed up, if like two dudes were your size and they got those vests first,
you're screwed.
You had to take either a smaller or a bigger one.
Yeah.
And he got one, I want to say that was bigger. And so when he went over the bar, the under piece of his vest caught the bar. And then when he went to go down, the top part just lodged straight into his mouth.
No.
He was bleeding consistently out of his mouth for the rest of the workout. And they were just kind of like,
well,
sorry, man.
You paid to come down here. Sucks to be you. Like
that's what I'm getting at. I think that as much as this is like it is on the company to do what it can, that's also like saying it's on the government to fix some of our issues. It is on the people, it is on the culture and the society to stop looking at CrossFit like it was meant for people who just couldn't do other sports. So they just threw them all together.
Let me give you another point. I grew up on food stamps and welfare, like I did. And then when I was a young adult from 18 to 20 years old, when I got in the Army, I loved food stamps. I had a wife and I had a son. And that was assistance. And then I made, just like we're talking about the representation of, James and them creating this camp and all that and everyone going, I was like, okay, this is just a crutch to help me get on my feet to move forward in one direction. So like they need to give a crutch to move forward. Even if it's, hey, we're going to take $5,000 across all 50 states, that's $250,000 of their annual profits and go, hey, we're going to toss it towards this YMCA to build a functional fitness room. We're gonna, give a scholarship for this, as long as this kid or the highest placing team that is a minority, we will give them $5,000 for college.
Would you be more, or would you be okay, either one of you guys, especially you, Kim, would you guys be okay paying more for the open if it meant that money would go towards new gyms or funding for new gyms? Because one of the things I'm thinking about right now is the NFL kind of does that with like NFL Play 60 and like they build playgrounds for kids, but they also expect to raise prices to get that stuff. So would you guys be okay with raising competition prices for like the open to try to fund stuff like that?
So here's my take on it, right? I was listening to you, Steve, initially, and you spoke about Iceland and whatnot, them being part of international. So I am part of international as well. And as much as I subscribe to CrossFit, I have never seen CrossFit acknowledge the Caribbean in any significant way, right? So, I mean, yeah, we're small islands or whatnot, but at the end of the day, if you are an affiliate, you are paying affiliate fees. True. And you expect to get some kind of acknowledgement or reward for that. It can't just be like, email, thank you for paying the fees, full stop. So if you're asking me to pay more for the open, am I willing to pay more? Yeah, if I can see a direct benefit to my people. And I don't mean to sound selfish, but having been part of a community that has subscribed to this for years and years on end, and there has not been any direct benefit or recognition, in the absence of that, I would be opposed to paying more.
And they didn't do anything. They didn't say anything about this stuff until the George Floyd thing happened. As soon as that happened, they were like, oh, we should probably do something about this. It was selfish in nature. I think it was selfish in nature. I think it was meant to go, oh, we need to ride this, woke culture kind of, oh, we're Black Lives Matter thing. We need to ride that wave. One, it might bring in more profits, which is fine because you're a freaking company. It's fine. But like, also it was kind of like, oh, wow, this is actually a problem. No one did the research. Like how many Black people do you have working on your staff enough to tell you, hey, I only have 2 friends that do this, whereas opposed to, Steve knows 20 people that do it that are white. So,
but I think you also have to look at that and understand that I think they did a little bit more after the George Floyd thing, after a certain somebody did a certain something and it made a certain company look kind of bad. Yeah. But you can't necessarily say that they are, I guess, on the wrong side of that, because every single Fortune 500 company in the world did that. I don't know if anybody saw, I believe it was, what month is it Gay Pride Month? Do you guys know? June. Okay, so I remember seeing last June, every single like big Fortune 500 company in the world, their Twitter accounts went to a bright colored rainbow flag. Yeah. Did anybody else notice that VW did that after all the war crimes they committed a bunch of years ago against gay people?
Who?
They supported the Nazis.
Oh yeah, Volkswagen.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Oh, no.
And then there was an account for Saudi Arabia that all Saudi Arabian companies, oil ones, came out with a different Twitter account than the original and put that same background through their symbols. It was like, are we not still throwing those people off the buildings?
Yeah.
So everybody made their bones with that George Floyd thing because it was such a cultural awakening where, like, if we had phones like this back in the 90s when the LA riots happened, bro, people would be changed. And that's the same thing with this incident in Ukraine right now. Is not that I don't believe what's going on there, because I know there are some people, especially like even Hayes and them, were like, hey, simmer down. Look, I don't want to go to war as much as the next soldier over this stuff, but the people in the United States are about to see a war firsthand out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even a part of it.
Like almost like, what's going on with the war today? Okay.
Exactly. And then you're going to see some picture of a baby with blood covering its face and an old woman with like a shatter blast to her face.
Yeah. Off of OAF Nation, like actual.
And that's going to be 15 seconds away for them. So that's a little bit more off track, but I think in the sense is how all that kind of stuff relates back. I think people, especially in CrossFit, did take an advantage But they also saw their athletes stand up for something they believed in, which was good. And I liked what certain athletes did. They stuck by their friends, but there really was only one dude that made a move. Like Brooke Wells, like her, probably a nice girl. That girl did that shit for the like and the accountability.
Yeah.
Because I remember somebody very close to us, Ken, unfriended me on Instagram because I didn't post a black square. But I was like, posting a black square doesn't tell you that I'm not racist. Doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I know Steve's not racist. Like,
but it was like, it was the support thing. And there was a bunch of athletes that came out and like, hey, I'm boycotting the games until somebody said something.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people that are those same people that signed this monster deal, and they're cracking a monster every 8 hours. But we both know you're not drinking that monster.
What do you think about that, Kim? Like, what do you think about the partial of Monster and CrossFit?
It's strategic. So
100% strategic.
But if we're taking the moral route, you know, CrossFit has always been this company that goes against high sugar drinks and rate-tay and our guy GG.
Now we're
now
we're gonna sell Shrek's piss and call it healthy.
It is.
Do you ever see that movie Role Models?
Get out of my swamp.
Do you ever see that movie Role Models with Paul Rudd?
Yeah, when he just had the energy drink thing.
And they were
in the urinal and it was green.
And it was green.
God. But from a business standpoint, you know, business is ever evolving. So it now provides an opportunity, especially with having gotten rid of our guy, Double G.
Yeah.
It now provides an opportunity for them to be a little more innovative with their business and try to convince, because they have blind followers, let's be honest, right?
Yes.
Try to convince those, despite what was said before, jump on this bandwagon. You know, we know what's best for you, kind of thing.
It's the same thing with
always
Noble.
have support.
But there's so many options out there. There's Yerbe. There's
hang on, because it's the same thing with Noble, where when I started CrossFit, Noble was like kind of like the up and coming brand. It had like some of the better looking CrossFitters, right, that were wearing them. But then I bought a pair for $165 and I was like, my God, this is terrible. Right. So a bunch of people jumped on board.
2 free pairs for judging at Waterpalooza, and my feet don't like them.
No.
Did you get any of the running ones?
I got the running. That's what they gave us the last time. So January, they gave us the running ones. Thank God, because the trainers were horrible, but even the runners weren't that great to me.
There's no arch support. I mean, I just don't.
No, my wife looked at one of the first versions yesterday and she was like, I really like those. I was like,
no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't like those. I'm gonna tell you that you don't like that.
It's the only thing I'll tell you don't like, sweetheart. Is these shoes.
I would say, is there a better sponsor that they could have gotten? Because I'm looking at Monster, and excuse me, but I think Rain, that energy drink, is Monsters, right?
Is it? I'm not sure.
It's like a
subsidiary. So I'm drinking Body Armor right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you think that this is a decent substitute?
Liquid IV.
Liquid IV is great, yes, but that's not a huge company.
I am not familiar with the taste or anything of Body Armor.
Okay, first of all, this one is delicious.
It's delicious. Kobe inspired.
And it's Kobe's limited edition.
I'm sold then. I'm sold.
But what I would say is, as delicious as it is, there's 21 grams of sugar in this. That's not great. But you know who owns this?
Which company?
I'm pretty sure it's Coca-Cola. Yeah, because it's not Pepsi.
Yeah.
Coke. Yes, Coke. I think somebody actually recently, I think it was Kobe, was a part of the ownership group, and he sold it for like, I think it was somewhere around $100 billion or something like that.
100 billion, not billion.
Yeah, but they took not only the name, but they took the entire company itself. So it's all the name, future likeness, all that stuff. They have all the rights to it. So over time, I think they'll get their probably 100 billion or whatever $1 billion it was. But
just using that example there, Steve, just with the reputation that Monster has, and putting it next to Body Armor, you're exactly. I mean, I would have to choose Body Armor as the better one to represent what CrossFit is supposed to be about health-wise, right?
Yes. And so I would say if Monster
400
can
million.
produce, how much was it? Oh, that's
Or
it.
million.
400 million.
Million.
My apologies. I used a B instead of an M.
Use a big B. I was like, "Whoa, bro."
That's a lot of zeros.
Kobe was making a lot of money afterwards, so I'm a little surprised it was only that much. But I would wonder if Monster, because I know they have that water. It's like the energy water or whatever.
The hydro.
I don't think it's any different than any other Gatorade or anything out there. I'm not saying
It's got more sugar in it than Gatorade.
Jesus.
It's disgusting. Yeah,
You
I don't.
Yeah, but
you have to try to
again-
add water to that much sugar.
This is like the concentrate, and add the water to it to mix it.
But I don't think there's not another brand that was out there. Granted, personally, I would go with the smaller
Hey,
business. You can get them longer term on a smaller deal, better for the owning company. But like FitAid is a good one. And they're everywhere at every CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
But the
Mhm.
problem is, no offense, there's a lot of people that don't like the taste of FitAid. Any of them.
But they have a
love 'em.
variety of flavors.
love 'em.
They do.
Fair.
And I like them. I just know a lot of friends that I'm like, hey, you want a FitAid? Or I'll go grab a couple, walk over and be like, hey, you want one? They're like, I'm good. But if I walked over with a Kill Cliff, they'd be like, oh, I kind of like those flavors a little more. I would have
Yeah.
stuck with Kill Cliff just because I think that they were the originals in the space. And I think they've done pretty well.
Has anybody suggested like a reason why they chose Monster? That
Other
we've
than the
read?
money.
I think
Other
it's
than
money.
the money.
Let's
Oh my
look
God.
it. I'll look it up. We got the internet at our
Yeah, you can look up
fingertips.
that
We'll
deal.
look that up.
But I also
And
know like Brooke Wells jumped on it. Justin Medeiros was the first one. But then I believe I know that Brooke Wells every 8 hours posts something to her opening some fruity juice version of Monster. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not drinking that.
Monster
You're giving
fruit.
that to your puppy before you're drinking that. We all know.
Yeah.
First of all, her dog's not even that cute. I have to say that now. That dog is.
Stop it. The dog did not do you anything, Steve.
No, it didn't. But I have two
Okay,
dogs,
so-
I'd stick up for
so-
mine first.
Kim, if you were like in a decision-making position at CrossFit, would you have partnered with Monster or would you have made a different choice?
I would have made a different choice.
What
But
choice
that's-
would you have made?
Well, as I said, I honestly would have done FitAid or again, as Steve said, Kill Cliff, one of those.
Mhm.
But also, I guess I have to question that decision because to me, they're names that I have grown to know in association with the sport. So they're like at the forefront of my mind. I can't think of like an off-brand name to
They're
be
like
like, hey,
that-
this
They're
would
like that
be-
in-town pizza parlor that you just know
There you go.
you'd rather
Yeah.
have than Pizza Hut.
I'd rather buy
Exactly.
locally. Like it's gotten to the point now where I'll rather go to a mom and pop restaurant if I go out to eat rather than some big chain. I'll give you even better insight into it because I was driving back from snowboarding last weekend. Yeah, I snowboard. It's fucking great. But and I complain about the cold,
Right.
but
It's
it's
like a moose
it's,
on wheels.
I know, right? It's crazy. 225 pounds going down a hill at 40 miles an hour. Nothing scary to that. But I was on my way back and like between Breckenridge and Colorado Springs or Peyton where I live, there's like nothing to eat. And there was a Wendy's. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go to Wendy's and get a sandwich. I drove up to the drive-thru. I got the bourbon bacon, whatever it was. I took one bite out of the sandwich and I threw up. I had to pull over and throw up. It was gross. It tasted like sugar and meat and cheese on a bun. And I was like, what is happening to me? So then I went, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell, got a quesadilla, been to the quesadilla, and I was like, I think I'm gonna be sick again. It was, and it's a function of it being bad for you, I think, because I'm not used to eating bad things. I haven't had really bad things in a while.
Oh, your body will let you know quickly. It's
Quickly.
not like that.
So, I mean, FitA's been a partner of CrossFit for forever since. Let me look at here what I'm.
I mean, they're
right
still, I believe, a partner, and they're always going to be in Vendor Village.
here. Yeah, they've been a
People are always
partner
gonna-
since 2017.
I think they definitely have the goodwill of the community itself. But I want to ask a question now. If either one of you guys was making decisions at CrossFit regarding this kind of a deal, if you knew you were going to get such a payday, and I'm not saying that CrossFit has this much morality, right?
Mhm.
But if they knew they were getting such a payday that they could use this money to do the things that we just talked about in communities, would you still sign the deal?
If they knew,
If
They
they
were
knew,
getting
say they were
such
getting
a-
like $50 million for 5 years, right? And that's just revenue. All they got to do is let Monster put their name everywhere, right? If you were making decisions there and you knew, hey, if we had $50 million over the next 10 years, we could put, or over the next 5 years, we could put money into local communities, like serious money.
As a matter of fact, you have.
Would you sign that deal?
Would you sign a deal with Monster if they offered to boost your company and become a partner for your company?
Probably.
Ooh,
Probably.
get into it. Get into the nitty gritty. Why?
No, I mean, because to
She
me,
probably
it would
feels
have
like
been.
we're setting her up.
I do, guys. It feels
Whoa.
like a setup.
It's on the question list.
I am trying to put feelings and emotions and morality to a certain extent aside and think business minded. So if I have an ulterior motive of this money could serve my community better, cool. Because
I'll gladly take that money out of their pocket.
Exactly. And there's a time frame to it, right? So if within that time frame, you need me to do what you need me to do, but you're giving me the money for me to build my community, then once that time frame is over, then I have all autonomy to run my community with the money that you just gave me.
Now, would you tell that company up front, hey, this is what I'm going to do with that money? Or would you take the money and then go out and be like, hey, I took the money from Monster and yes, it's a good company, blah, 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 but I'm going to use their money to make this community better and basically just oust them. Because that's what I would do. If I'm going to take the money.
There's integrity and then there's ignorance, right?
Yeah.
There's integrity and ignorance
need to know what the right hand's doing.
Correct.
Yes,
correct.
But if you're going to do it and give the people the trust, because right, if you sign that deal and you know what you're going to do with the money, right? Those people, unless you have a business meeting with the people in your community about like what's going to start happening, they're probably going to question it in some way and be like, Kim, you are not a Monster drinker. You don't support this kind of like company that's just dousing sugar in drinks. Why are you taking this?
And I pull one out of my bag like, me, not a Monster drinker.
It's like Blake Griffin doing a dunk over a Kia and ending up in the Kia commercials. He's not driving a Kia. He's giving it to his housemate.
Exactly. But in this space,
he's going to ride off in a Bentley.
But in this space, Blake Griffin's making more money per year than CrossFit probably is as a company.
Well, yeah. But, you know.
So as somebody who would take that kind of money from Monster, I would then look at Monster and be like, hey, as a part of the deal, I'm going to tell these people what I'm going to do with your funds.
Yeah. No,
now, are you still going to give it to me or not? And if they're like, no,
and they're like,
all right, cool. FitAid, what's up?
I to be honest, I am very big on associating myself with brands or what. I mean, not that wholesale brands come to me, but associating myself with brands that align with who I genuinely am.
I thought, I'm sorry, I started laughing. I started thinking about Hayes and Jalen when they were both like, I can't get enough brands to come to me. Give me a free belt just because. I'm sorry, continue.
No, but so back to what you were saying, Steve, so there is the moral approach and then there's the business strategy approach.
Yes.
So the moral approach is what you were suggesting, like, all right, try to tell them, you know what, if you give me this money, this is what I intend to do with it. The business strategy approach is, you know what, give me that money. Let me do what you need me to do. But at the end of the day, I'm using it to serve my community. Y'all don't need to know that right now, but that's my intention. So
with that answer, that brings me back to our original topic real quick. Do you take the moral approach or the business approach, which they have to make a decision on when they start hearing about inclusivity and they start looking at how many people...
Inclusivity, not civitivity. He doesn't write so well, so I had to retype all of No. Let me go here. I'm gonna say it in really layman's terms. He can't spell, and he doesn't know how to put spaces and periods between sentences. So I fixed it on my own.
The essay portion of this competition was not my strongest suit.
It was not.
But so just pose that question back. Would you, obviously, if you take yourself out of like race, ethnicity, like background, and just as somebody who's at the head of the helm, do you make the moral decision or do you make the business decision?
The business.
Yeah,
because you gotta know.
I feel like you need to play the Jeopardy music right now.
I'm gonna say this. I mean it with all the respect in the world, but she's an attorney. Sometimes she gotta lie about shit.
Hey,
Accusing of being a
sometimes good
dishonest
people got to
professional.
do better.
Hold on. Stick a pin. It's not
Okay.
lying. It is the art of persuasion. There's a difference.
Ooh,
Ooh,
There's a
okay. I like
difference.
the way you put that.
she's just Harvey Specter
Counselor.
draft.
It's like, it's like,
Have
it's
either one
like,
of you
yeah,
guys watched the show?
he didn't steal the money. He walked in and just,
It
it
just happened to
stuck
be
to his
there.
hand. He just,
He acquired.
and
He
it's
acquired it.
tactically acquired.
Inadvertently acquired.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
gosh.
Honestly, you have me stumped because
Because that's the thing that most people don't look at nowadays, especially when they go after a company, even like a company like Twitter, which I'm not a big fan of some of the shit they do and like the way they let some people speak and other people not speak.
Yeah, that's.
But
You
at
can
the
put
end of the
porn on Twitter.
day, hey, do you, man? We don't kink shame on this podcast.
I'm just saying.
it's like, damn, that's what you would do.
But Twitter makes business decisions, and there's definitely opportunities for people to pay them to get other people to stop talking.
This is true.
It's
honest. In the business world, morality doesn't have a high standing. Like,
no, the only color that matters.
People
is
are
green.
driven. They're driven by money. Let's be honest.
So I don't think CrossFit's a company that's necessarily driven by money. I think they like the money because they don't have a lot of it right now. But I think they're driven by the community. And if the entire community, including some games athletes, came out and were like, hey, we don't want you guys to offer beer and alcohol at the games. It should only be safe, like good to drink drinks or just water. Well, if a majority of the community came out and said that, I believe that CrossFit would stop serving alcohol at the games. Because they're not in the business of making the money off alcohol anyways. So they would just say, FitAid, start cranking them things out.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was going to agree. I think they are very like subject to the tone of the community. So like what we were speaking about after the whole fiasco that other year and the outbursts and people started to unaffiliate and everything like that, it was like, all right,
that was a wild time.
It was the power of numbers though, right? The only thing was a few changes and everybody's back on board. So the what I call the stickability, doesn't last. That's the problem.
You got to do that a time or two for them to really get down to the core stuff.
I mean, we're right back to where we ended up with Jalen and Hayes's podcast. It's like crabs in a bucket. Winter, you don't go down to New York or Miami and see a little Africa. Like you don't.
True.
It's because
you see little Cuba.
Yeah, you see little Cuba, like Chinatown.
Miami is little Cuba. Yeah.
So
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think ultimately you have to question who did they intend to serve from the get-go? Like how did it originate? And any evolution from there is not going to stray in any like big way or huge way from who they intended to serve initially. So yes, as minorities and whatnot, we kind of jumped on board. We weren't part of the initial roundtable, right? They do see, I'm sure there's benefit to our athleticism and whatnot. So they do things like the whole, what was it? Diversity, inclusivity,
inclusion
and
board.
The board, right?
The board, yeah, that board.
Who serves on that board? Do we know anybody that serves on that board?
Yeah,
what does that board do?
Only person I know is Elijah Muhammad.
Can you look that up on Google?
Yeah, I'll look it up on Google. I'm gonna find out real quick.
Our young Jamie. You're
young
my
Jamie. Essentially, I'm Jamie, except I'm
my
black.
Joe Rogan's behind the scenes guy.
I have like two computers and like 4 monitors, so I do project management.
I'm here for the fact checking for sure.
Ooh.
Okay, diversity inclusion board. Let's look and see who's on here. DEI Council. Bam. CrossFit.com. Right,
wait, is it Chandler? Was it he added to that recently or something like that?
I'm about to tell you. Here we go. We got Casey Jordan. She's a Caucasian lady. Jennifer Hunter Marshall, black. Wally Blasik, white. Chandler, black, of course. Athena Perez, Hispanic or Latin American. Dylan King, he is trans. He's transsexual. Then we have Amy West, white lady. Sean Ward, black guy. Erin Kamalo, she is Asian. Mason C. Alberts, and she is white. That's all that's on there. You have.
I'm assuming one or two of them are probably from like Europe that are white or Australian.
Nope.
So hold
They're
on.
all
So
American,
aesthetically,
except for Canada. One from Canada. That's it. That's all you get.
So
every time people mention Canada that way, I have to laugh. I have nothing against Canadians. I just find it like the word Canada at this point is just kind of gives me a giggle.
Just funny. But go ahead. Yeah. What were you saying, Kim?
I was saying aesthetically, the composition of the board checks a box, right? It's diverse.
Yeah.
What does the board do? That question still lies. Like, what does the board do? Is there anything that we can tangibly look to and be like, oh yes, the board did this. We appreciate them for that.
Well, I think
no.
when and if I'm saying this, hopefully we have Chandler on this podcast, which would be amazing if it happens. That would probably be one of our first few questions.
Yeah.
I would love to know if there's
what have you guys done?
Held, how often? I mean, obviously he's a busy dude, but he's not in the Army anymore, so it's not like he has field training to go to.
Yeah, he ain't got nothing to do. He ain't got, trust me. He ain't got nothing to do.
I would assume that Nike would buy him a plane ticket to wherever that council meets.
Yeah.
Easily.
100%.
Easily.
Like, I don't understand. So this is what it says on the site verbatim. I'm reading this. Anybody can go to the DEI link and click inclusion on CrossFit. It says, we're a leading platform for health, happiness, and performance. Inclusion is at the foundation of our mission. Number one. Number two, we are a resilient global community committed to changing lives through CrossFit. Hard work is our unifier. That's two. We resolve to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion worldwide, hence the DEI logo. Inside and outside our communities, we acknowledge and anticipate the DEI takes different forms around the world. Our commitment is global. They have Canada on the board. That's it. That's their only global shtick. And then it says,
I'm not busy. They could call me.
Yeah, they can call me too. I stand at my desk. I can let my desk up and I can stand up and have a conversation. I'm a black dude that does CrossFit. Right? It counts. Like,
but now I would say before they start calling just about anybody, right? They're probably going to call the people who have traveled. I'm not saying that like none of us could talk on it. I'm just saying I would hope that when they assembled this council, which I hate that word anyways, that they have chosen people who have not only traveled and been through CrossFit, but have been behind the scenes, who know the actions, who might know a little bit of the business, right? Just, we can't throw, what was it, like 7 or 8 people on a council and be like, hey, you guys are going to be able to make decisions that affect people's business, the arenas, the backdrops, the sponsors, the stories of athletes and all that stuff. I would say, whatever our episode with Chandler reveals, I would hope that it's like, hey, we meet once, twice a month on Zoom at the minimum and discuss like an actual issue until the point of resolution. But
okay,
so I agree with you to a certain extent.
To what extent?
I feel like that's being very hopeful.
What extent is that?
So
I want to know.
Steve said they would want people who have traveled, who know these things. That is still limiting. That is still exclusive. Now, if you are creating something now, you should open up the floodgates a little bit more to include more people. Mm-hmm. Even if that includes you then educating them or whatnot on the inner workings of your company, because it puts you in a position now to attract more people and get more and whatnot on the table, more representation. That's the word I'm looking for, on the table. So our nice We Are the World board that we have there, what do we know about them? If the majority of them come from the US. So my argument is always going to be, yes, CrossFit originated in the US, but you're taking money from people globally.
Globally, yeah.
So your representation needs to be global, and it cannot just be the big, North America, South America, Australia, Europe, because you're taking money from other places. You have an open where you have regions, right? So if we want to use that where your representation needs to be regional,
so
global and international.
Exactly. The last like really relevant update they've had to the site, the diversity inclusion site itself. I'm gonna look at the copyright date and see if I can determine something.
Yeah.
It says 2022, but this page has been up since 2021 and there's nothing that's changed about it. And they said something about $7 million endowment to, minority, I'll read it verbatim. CrossFit Foundation is also starting a new program via $7 million endowment from Rose and other investors to focus specifically on public health with an emphasis on underserved communities. And they have, this is kind of wild. It's the development of DEI. Oh no, I'll go to affiliate fees first. This is fucking weird. Affiliate fees will get a facelift and Rose are committed to revealing at the next quarterly town hall how fees will be restructured based on a given community's economy to better suit the independent circumstance of each gym's locale. The development of DEI is clearly a priority for Rose and his team with multiple hires, significant money set aside to tackle the issue head on. The first town hall meeting provided some promising pieces of the puzzle. That's it. That's all that's happened. Where did this somebody tell me what the line items are for this $7 million? Like, I want to know where you're located.
Metaverse.
But as a business, you're asking for the same report as what we just said earlier, wouldn't necessarily be told. And you're asking to put it out.
Transparency, Steve.
That's true, man. But you're also asking for them to put out documents that tell you everything. And we don't ask that from everybody.
We ask that from the federal government.
And do we get it?
Freedom of Information Release Act?
Okay, you go ahead. You go ahead and you ask the government through a Freedom of Information Act request for a layout of where all our tax dollars go. I guarantee
you can get that. You can get that. It is in the spending bill. If you read it, it is 8,000 pages long, but you have to read it.
Okay, go ahead. You read those 8,000 pages.
I'm asking, but I was an intern on a Senate campaign, so yeah, I had to at some one point. But what I'm saying is, no, seriously, what I'm saying is that if I can fill out a piece of paper for the federal government to release a piece of information to me to go, hey, I want to know what happened to X amount of dollars. Even if it takes 3 years, I can still fill out that piece of paper and ask. If I asked CrossFit LLC for, where the $7 million went, I don't even want to know exactly how much you spent and where. I just want to know where you project on spending and give me a point of contact for those locations. That's it.
Fair. I would say fair, but again, I'm not trying to defend that the likelihood is that they're probably spending it however they see fit.
Oh yeah.
And maybe even to the squeakiest wheel gets the oil. Let's be honest. So there's probably somebody who's getting it a little bit more than somebody else. I like that plan and like how the way they worded it. It sounded like the gyms that are highly successful are going to pay a little bit more than the gyms that are struggling. And I think that's very important after like the last 2 years. Because there are some gyms over the last 2 years that were hanging on, probably doing well, few members away from like doing kind of well, to now they're like, hey, bro, I got like $10,000 in fines for trying to stay open so that my kids could eat. And I didn't even take a fee or a salary. So I think at least where he's going with that business wise is good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just to expound on that a bit more, is there a minimum like membership number that you need to be an affiliate?
No.
You just need to pay the fees, right?
I will look it up.
Or you just need to be a military affiliate.
Yeah.
There you go. So I think that is a good idea to have.
I think you should have a. I think you should have a minimum. Hopefully, through that plan, I think there should be a minimum number of patrons where you can see that a gym should still be able to cost effectively like make a revenue off of it.
So
before you start asking them for a pay increase. So hopefully they're doing those studies.
You just need a level one. That's it.
Yeah, that's all you need. You can open a CrossFit gym out of your garage.
Yeah, and insurance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a 6-step application. It's application, location, insurance, payment, license agreement. Congratulations.
Because like I just went to D-Town CrossFit up in Dallas, probably like I want to say early November. Gorgeous gym outside the city. But it was also, if I had to guess, in a lower income neighborhood, right? It was all like an older brick warehouse that they had turned into a nice gym. So it was like one of those up and coming, like preppy areas that people are starting to get bought out of. That was $185 a person for 200 plus members. They're
Jesus.
rolling in it.
185?
That's a lot of
185 a
money.
person for
Monthly?
for over 200 members.
Oh no.
So they pay your mortgage or something? How does it
Yeah,
work?
they like, yeah.
I mean,
paying-
they were definitely paying that building's mortgage, that's for sure.
They'd be paying
that
my
was-
mortgage and they'd offer me one free meal when I come in.
And that
Right.
gym though, I'm not saying that $185 is a necessary membership fee, but that gym was well stocked. It was well cleaned. They had staff. They had a service manager who like walked around and cleaned all the time and fixed things all the time. Switched out ropes.
Someone to
switched out
wipe your
plates.
behind in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No,
Is he
not
gonna
quite.
wipe
But
for me?
those bathrooms were really nice. They had like 7 showers in each men and women's bathrooms. They were
Damn.
painted well. They were a little uppity, but it was cool.
I'm trying to do the conversion. The our dollar is 2 to 1 with the US. 185
If-
370.
Yeah. So if
That's
I have that right,
madness.
it's 185 times 200. So yeah, $37,000 a month.
And their
So
rent for that,
their-
how many square feet is that? Square feet is that?
Ooh, if I had to compare it to something, Ken, that you and I know, Waller
Okay.
combined footage, probably ballpark 3/4 of what that open area in Waller was that everybody worked out in.
Oh my God, that's they're only paying about 3,000, 4,000 a month in their lease, and they're
Yeah,
pocketing
probably.
the 33,000 would help them pay for their overhead, which is like the machine.
Well, I would also expect like you're in Dallas, you're in an up and coming neighborhood. That's I'd probably say somewhere close to like $6,000 a month for that lease.
That's still not.
But even
That
still, you're
lease?
pocketing $31,000.
That's a sixth of your monthly income.
Yes. So they are very well off
Damn.
in that situation.
Do they need coaches? How about that?
Probably.
She's like, I'll move.
Probably. And I mean, those coaches, like they were staff that were there all day,
Yeah.
right? So like it looked like
They were full-time employees. Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
I
miss
said.
me.
They got.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
I believe
Bye.
the head coaches were full-time employees, or at least you can look it up on their website. But the dude that was up
What's
there,
it called?
D-Town,
CrossFit.
so
D-Town?
D-Town CrossFit.
I feel like I've seen that name before.
Yeah, I have too.
They are definitely somewhere that hosts level ones, and they definitely host their own
Often.
competitions and stuff. But I look at a gym like that I just went to, was terrific. The staff was great. They have apparel. They have like a coffee bar. They got the mini fridges and all that shit.
Yeah,
They're doing well. I look at a
Yeah.
gym like the
Okay.
one I'm at now, where our owner owns 2 gyms in the local area, right? And the one that we have, like, we got nice stuff. He's really doing a great job putting a whole bunch. Every time I go in there, there's another upgrade to this fucking place. I can't keep up. But this one is more like coaches get paid per class, I believe, depending on they choose that or having their membership paid for and whatnot. I just recently became a coach there. And so like I get my membership like most coaches. But then I'm looking at like we may have probably like 100 members, maybe.
Fair.
And I think like my membership fee is ballpark, like so I don't give it away. Probably like 3/4 or
That's not bad.
3/5 of what D-Town was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm seeing where my money is going.
Is going, yes. Very
I'm seeing that.
But that's
my
the
wife
thing.
and I-
You need transparency. Like you need
Well,
transparency.
not necessarily. I didn't get any transparency. I'm just seeing new equipment. There's new Hero barbells everywhere. There are
That's transparency.
more cleaning supplies.
I was
The
gonna
bathrooms
say-
are a little bit better.
You're
It's
explaining
transparency.
transparency.
It's transparency, but they're not telling you. They don't have to
Right,
give you the money report. They're just saying like, hey,
Exactly.
look at this. So that's what I'm saying. If CrossFit could do that in a sense, where it's like, I don't think they owe anybody the money report, but if
I
you
agree.
started seeing this piece,
You just want to see. You want to, but
Yeah,
it
I
has to be
wanna see.
tangible. I'm not asking for you to
Yes.
send me an email with a breakdown of numbers or anything like that. But I want to see. Oh, you
You
post
wanna see
something
change
from
with the money
Barbados.
that you're getting, yeah.
or from the Caribbean or from more Black people, or like
Yeah.
in a genuine way, not just to check a box. Like
Yeah.
Very true.
somebody has convinced somebody to take an interest in more people.
So I'm gonna give like a little not even like a history lesson. It's kind of like
I will
political
say, I think Eric
sciences.
Rosa is going to be the guy that brings that, though. Go ahead, Ken. But I just want to say that. I think Rosa is going to be the guy that brings that.
You know what stops like oppression in other countries? You know what stops it? Like the thing that's been like statistically proven to stop it, or
Good
stop
men and
slavery,
education.
or stop corruption. Like it's one thing.
Education.
Close, but not really. Go ahead, Kim. Give me a guess.
I was going to
Upward
say
mobility.
when the riot, like when the people decide they're tired of the BS and they take matters into their own hands.
So the reason that they're rioting is because they don't own anything. It's all about ownership. So it's like statistically proven that it's
people nowadays don't want to own shit.
Because like you don't want anybody.
They don't want to pay taxes on nothing.
Like you don't want riots in your neighborhood because you own your house in your neighborhood, right? You don't want riots in your business neighborhood because you own a business there. You don't want to get torn up. So you have more of a reason to show up to these little town hall meetings, vote for your local city councilor. Like I am so upset that people think that, I voted for the president, things should change. No, how about you go and vote for your local government, you dumb. Like that's the thing. Like I think that
dumb.
But people think that, Eric Rose is here now. He's gonna save, he's a great savior of CrossFitter or whatever. Like that's not how it works. They thought that when he moved to head of the board and dropped the CEO title, that was like, he couldn't handle it. No, he gave himself more power. Now he's on the board that votes for things.
Well said.
Yeah, now he's on the board that votes for stuff. And now he can control who's the CEO, who's the diversity and inclusion initiative head of that chair, like all those things. And people don't realize that. They need to understand, and like Steve said, educate yourself on how the processes really work. And
the fact that it is a business at the end of the day. It
is a business. Like I'm not mad that they chose to fire Dave or whatever. Like it's a business. They can do whatever the hell they want.
No, this open's about to be hella easier.
Yeah, it's about to be so much easier. Like that first workout I just saw, I was like, oh my God.
There's no way Dave programmed that.
Yeah, I was like, I can get like 11 or 12 rounds. That's crazy.
His ass probably programmed the same thing, but with box step overs at 100 pounds.
Bro, I think he programmed it with
increasing wall walks.
Increasing wall walks too.
Like, you want to do bar muscle ups? Well, you got to hit 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 wall walks and burpee box jump overs where you can get to the bar. Oh my God. Like
it'd be wall walks with like a handstand push up inverted facing the wall.
Exactly. Like you got to do it the opposite way. You wall walk, you press up.
I mean,
freestanding handstand push up.
We can shift a little bit. I do have one question before I have to go, probably in like the next 15 minutes ish.
Yeah. We're at an hour, so.
Oh, that's not too bad. We're right on par.
Really?
Yeah.
What's a movement you guys think is going to be new that's in this year's Open, or do you think there won't be a new movement? Not like somebody invented a new movement, but one that we haven't seen.
I had this conversation last night with Hayes actually, and I agreed with him on I was thinking the dumbbell squat snatch, but they had power snatches today, so I don't know if that would come.
No,
that would be in the quarterfinals. That would be like in stage 2.
That would probably be. I could see heavy dumbbell squat snatch. So like 85, 50 pounds.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah,
but that heavier dumbbell will let you get in the squat position easier, like way easier.
Yeah, but that's gonna buckle your knees.
Yeah, but you need. And you better be able to stabilize that.
Oh, I could do that. That's easy. Like a 50 pound dumbbell.
No, I'm talking 80.
Squat snatch it.
I'm talking about 80, 50.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm all about that. I'm all about that madness.
He's so strong.
Yeah, actually, that's I'm Steve. I can move well. Fuck you. I can't move well. I just learned how to move well this year, Steve. Give me something.
I was gonna say
this is the kind of dynamic that I would be like, y'all need a podcast, but you already have a podcast.
Yes,
so
wow, thanks.
You know what's funny is I have a lot of friends that I have the same dynamic with. So I'm glad I chose. So
you're the problem, Steve? You're the problem?
I'm 100. I'm an ass. I'll ask all the questions. I'll say all the things.
He's
love
like,
people who own who they are, though.
I was the problem child on episode 2. I don't know if you listened to episode 2, but I was a problem child.
Yeah, I have to be anti-Steve. I was really
I
high.
listened to snippets of them.
And my name is
I heard.
I was like, da da da. Never mind. It's not that important.
Yeah,
Keep
there you
calling
go.
you Steve, but your name is really Steven, right?
Well,
call
so
him Steve.
I prefer Steve as like
Or you
a
could
name.
call him a piece of shit.
Okay,
That's
cool.
a good one too.
Cool.
Whoa, now
Yeah.
dial it back.
No, I'm not
Reel
gonna
it
dial
in,
it back.
reel it in.
Because then-
Or you
Because then
call
my
it.
wife's gonna get this idea that she can call me that. I
No,
don't
because
need
she can.
that. No, she calls me other names.
Bro,
I
you-
thought
okay.
the new movement was gonna be freestand handstand push-up.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I thought that would make the open at some point because there's plenty of people now that can do handstand push-ups, they can do them strict, and let's all be honest, none of us love to hate more than the standard for the handstand push-ups that have been in these opens. So
Oh,
imagine if
God.
they were just like, hey,
The variety
we're gonna
of
take
standards.
we're gonna take away all your issues with your elbows and stuff, you Jacob Hepners.
Yeah, I got
You
long
Jacob
balls.
Now we're gonna make you guys do it without a wall. So now I just need to see full extension of your elbows.
What would, oh, now you just need to see, I was going to say, what would be the standard there, but full extension of the elbow? Okay, all right.
I think it's like the next one that you will see is
Somebody break their neck, though.
single arm devil's press.
But
They haven't
isn't
had
that-
that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, no.
I feel like that's just a burpee with a power
a snatch.
Oh, okay, I did the
Let's be honest,
Waterpalooza. I
single
did the
dumbbell power snatch is easy as hell.
Yeah, it
Those
is
are
easy.
fun.
But I did
I like
the
those.
Waterpalooza qualifier that was 10 all the way down to 1 of total bar and double dumbbell devil's press. I have not felt that magnitude of pain in a long time.
No, that's
I mean,
That's
let's be
just
honest.
easiest.
A movement in isolation can be easy. It's the rep scheme and
Yes.
the movements that are surrounding it that makes the whole thing like, okay, we're gonna die.
I would like
Yeah,
to see
you're like,
bench
oh,
press
okay.
come into one of these.
Linda?
Hmm?
No.
Bench press. I would like to see bench press come into one of these, whether it's dumbbell like 4 press or like a bench press. Just because like they had it in the regional competition one time and I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah,
But
Linda.
there's
They did it
always
for
so many
team
things.
series a time. Yeah, you guys ever did team series?
Mm-mm.
I've only been doing CrossFit for 3 years. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been doing it
Then I
6, but
know.
I didn't pay attention to that one.
I had really liked team series and they had a bench in that a time. That was
Mm.
fun.
Jesus.
Well, okay,
But no.
so before I get out of here, Ken, because you guys might be able to finish off like another like 10 or 15 minutes after me.
Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. That's too much.
I'm going away from kind of slightly our list, I guess, but another real life situation question, and somebody who's gone between Paradise and Paradise's cousin and then up to Canada. I wonder what your interpretation of this is. What is it like to be a woman in today's society for you?
Yeah.
I think there's so many branches to this right now.
A woman
Yeah.
of color.
I was
Not
gonna
even
say
a
the
woman of
first
color, just a woman.
word that comes to mind is empowering. Because you basically they start you're supposed to be subpar, for lack of a better word, right? That's not my mindset though. I honestly believe that I can do anything that I put my mind to.
Mhm.
So when you're in a position where people are almost wired to doubt you
Mhm.
and doubt your abilities, I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this, right? But then you will encounter people who are very strong in their opinion about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So me, a woman in CrossFit, relatively athletic body, I've gotten the comments. I've been told I look like a man, and I was like, find me a man that look like me because I don't understand.
Show me a man that looks like me and I'll show you a real man.
Like we said in the first podcast,
Exactly.
the average man size male in America is 5'9", 40-inch waist, 197 pounds. That's fat. That's obese.
Yeah, exactly. Find a man that looks like you and I'll show you a real man.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
so,
at least an athlete. So I just want to get your thoughts as it pertains to being a woman in the world, not even in CrossFit, not even in fitness. What do you think about being a woman right now?
now is, I mean, if there was a time to be a woman in the world, now would be the time. Our
Very
voices
true.
are
Very
loud.
true. Mm-hmm.
Our voices are loud.
Especially in
Big
business. If I see
platforms.
a woman in business and one that is successful or even non-successful, there's nothing more dangerous than somebody that doesn't have something to lose. But like a woman in business is like, we haven't been in this that long. Don't make me show you why we should have been.
Yeah.
No, that's what
Women in business
Yeah,
are
don't let me-
ruthless and they know why they're there and what they're there for. So that's why I really wanted to ask this of you, because you have your own business. You are a lawyer. You're doing things that women have not done a lot of in history.
Mhm.
And I mean, relatively speaking, women have only been voting for what, like 60, 70 years almost?
Suffrage
Less
was
than that? What was
48.
that?
Was suffrage 48?
But like the Women's Right Act, I think didn't come out until what, like the 50s? So it's
I
like
think so. Let me
60,
look.
70 years?
I'm trying to think of what it was here. Because once I was 18, I could vote, but I'm not. I would have to check with my parents to see what it was here in Barbados. But in the US, it was the 50s, yeah.
But even like
Oh,
women in combat, MOSs for the military, which is just words for like combat jobs.
Yeah.
Still very relatively new, having them on like to share a battlefield with them and to expect the same things out of them that they expect the men to do.
1920. Not that
That's
long,
when they got the right to
years.
vote?
Yep, 1920 in America.
Oof. Sorry,
Not long.
all to all of our
Mhm.
lady followers, especially my mother-in-law.
It's like the 50s.
I was like 49. Shit. But no, like you being a bit like you, one being a business owner, you being a woman, you being an attorney, you doing CrossFit at a pretty high level, and you being Black, like that's pretty good.
You got a trifecta.
That's
for the-
empowering. That's why.
You got
That's
a-
my
she got
word.
a
It is
pentagon.
extreme.
Because
It's
as much as
extremely empowering.
men have been doing all of this stuff for a while, there's very few men that have
Yeah.
learned how to do all the things that men have been doing for
Yeah.
all of history and learned how to do it well. And when I say the word well, I would put that in quotations and say like they've done it with integrity,
Decently.
they've done it decently, they've done it for the right reasons. And I think a lot of women now, as long as they don't get through like the train of like, hey, men just don't want me to be here, and they realize like, no, I am here because I want to be here, then it's like, okay, now it's scary.
Yeah, now
That's the one thing that that's the
Yeah.
one thing that dudes fear, I think, is like the idea of like, especially in the army, like when you're working alongside with a female and something, you don't want to come off as impressive or oppressive. You don't want to come off as like, hey, I'm trying to teach you how to do the things that I do.
Mansplaining or being a bigot, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Mansplaining,
even
yeah.
on a lesser level, like even if I'm giving like a training on like medical threat briefs or something like that, if I know that there's a female like counterpart of mine that is proud of herself being in that position and isn't like, who's going to try to take it from me, that's more empowering. That's better for everybody because that person understands that my gender has been doing this for hundreds of years, but you are just now really getting around all of this and you're doing it better than we could.
Yeah,
for
you're
the
doing it
last
better than I'm doing it right
500
now.
years.
I don't own a, well, technically I do, but yeah, no, you're killing it.
But I mean, as I said, it feels good because then it's almost like you become a part of history. You become something that somebody can aspire to.
Stewardship.
We say, there you go. We say representation matters very
Look at you
loosely,
guys
but
with the big words.
It's called a college education, Steve. You got to get one.
I have half of one.
You got to finish it all the way through. Go ahead, Kim.
you should be able to look to someone who is like you in whatever format and be like, yeah, if they could do it, I could do it too.
Mhm.
So
I want them to do it
that's
better.
how I feel.
That's how I look
Yeah,
at Joe
there you
Rogan when
go.
I watch his clips in the morning.
Yikes.
I look at my 7
Oh my
subscribers and I'm like, I got this, Joe. I'm coming.
My 7
Yep. Yep. And they go, oh, we can do this. We got this in the bag. This is crazy.
I thought about my podcast name all by myself, sitting at the counter. Well, Ken helped me a little bit, but hey, give me credit for that
It's
one.
cat-
Give me credit for that
It's
one.
catchy. It's
It-
catchy.
It
I love
was.
it.
He said something about like Oreos and whatnot, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
black and white. Wow. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh wait, hey, hang on.
It's not all black and white.
It's not all black and white.
All right, well, I
Yeah.
got to get out of here. I got to go support my wife and bring her some Girl Scout cookies to the
Oh,
gym
God.
so she can give them away.
Well
But
done.
Oh yeah, see, look at you being a supportive husband and shit. I'm gonna go with my fiance and get some stuff to make curry. So
I took an
Ooh.
hour and a half nap today, and my wife didn't. So I think that I kind of have to be a nice guy. But
They go
before we hop off, I just want to give the shout out to Gooder.
Yeah.
Kim, if you don't know, this podcast does have a sponsor.
Yeah.
Somebody has entrusted me with reading sponsorships. I don't know if you've heard any of my previous ones. They are infamous. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Gooder.com, GOODR.com. Okay. I was told I got to make sure I have the R in there because there is no E. So sometimes people get messed up and they want to spell it. Right. So Gooder, I read the backstory recently. So hopefully they listen to this and they know that I care enough about the
Your sunglasses on the way too, Steve. They're like 2 days out, man.
God.
They're 2 days out, bro. I'm
My
sorry.
wife gets packages all the time and mine are always
You're
somewhere
like,
else.
oh.
Exactly. But I read their backstory. I know that I believe it's 2 dudes in it, a female or a chick. They all came together and they're kind of like, hey, we started seeing some people wearing like douchey sunglasses. And then we saw athletes who were wearing like, I don't know, like local gas station sunglasses, like that.
Gas station, yeah.
That frat boy, like $5. Hey, that'll get me to where I'm going. Type
With the UV sticker still on.
Exactly right. You kind of feel like cancer might come through those sunglasses. But
so if you don't want eye cancer, you got to get.
If you don't want eye cancer, yes. If you wear,
there you go.
If you wear
This is
Gucci or Nike
point.
sunglasses, or you got that gas station sunglass, you're getting cancer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's happening.
But you know what? Gooder doesn't have the cure to cancer, but you know what? Their sunglasses don't give people cancer. That's for sure.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Make sure
That's not bad sponsorship ad reading. I'm not giving anybody any misinformation.
Gooder is anti-cancer.
They were anti-cancer before it was cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know anybody else that's anti-cancer.
I think we're listening for
What minute is this? Oh my God. Okay. You got it, Steve. Jesus.
I hope to God that they're laughing at this right now. But
they are. Every time I send them the clips, they laugh.
Go to gooder.com, get yourself a good pair of sunglasses. They have polarized versions. They have some of the best names for their sunglasses that I've ever seen. I know no free shout outs, but what was it? Natty Light came out with a bunch of seltzers like 2-3 years ago. And they were like Aloha Beaches was like a lemon lime one. And then there was like the Catalina lime mixer was another one. I was like, if you give it a good name, that'll sell itself.
Anybody will buy it.
So if I go on gooder.com and I look up Ginger Soul, there's an all black pair of sunglasses. And I think we all know why. Yes.
And Beelzebub's bourbon burpees.
There you go. Amelia Earhart ghosted me. It's basically saying you're going to have heartbreak in the world, man. And sometimes it's just a woman trying to do extraordinary things. And she landed in Japan, by the way, everybody. Everybody there knows that. And everybody else around the world does not.
I never
GOODR.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a promo code for that yet?
Not yet. I think it's like this week I'm supposed to be getting it. I can't.
Do you have a personal promo code for them?
No, I don't. I just get free shit, man. Not yet. I have to wait. I have to sign a freaking piece of paper. Wait, stop this.